Hi everyone, my name is Mafer Carranza, English for Kids Academic Coordinator. On today's video, we will learn about English for Adults Level 0 classes. We will talk about a couple of things that you have to have in mind for your first day. The first thing that we're going to talk today is to build rapport and set expectations. This is super important if you want to show yourself as a leader since day one. How do we build rapport? Well, first thing you have to do is earn the right. Introduce yourself, your name, where are you from, and hobbies to find common ground with your trainees. Also, tell them how was your life before English and how is your life now after English, right? Like learning English had opened a lot of opportunities for me. And also, meanwhile, you can ask your trainees why they want to learn English, what's their purpose, their goal. That this will help you build a bond or create a bond with your trainees and show you as a person that also struggled to learn English, but it's not impossible. This will motivate them and also put you or build that rapport that we're looking for. Besides that, motivation is super important. Explain why motivation is super important during this learning course and that you're going to be pushing and motivating. Pushing or setting expectations about pushing since day one is super important because making mistakes for some of them is not easy. So remember, mistakes are good and they're part of the process, right? Another thing that we need to set expectations about is Wall of Fame. The Wall of Fame is a tracker for you and your trainees to visually know their participation. Besides that, you need to set clear expectations about class rules like camera, microphone, and class behavior. Finally, we're going to set expectation about mental training. Why do we do mental training? Why is it important? Because we are what we think most of the time. So you need to believe that you will be able to achieve the impossible, that it's the only way to make it happen. Then we have English environment. For English environment, it's also super important. Even though you are with a level 0, never underestimate your trainees. Always show them basic commands like open your camera, microphone, stand up, sit down, read, copy. These super easy commands, you don't need to translate, you just show them with mimics and they will understand. Good. Just remember Spanish is your last resource. In level 0, English environment increase weekly, starting from a 50-50 until you get to an 80-20. This doesn't mean that 20% of the class you will be speaking Spanish or 50% of the class you will be speaking Spanish. It means that you can translate vocabulary, commands, or even grammar. You can use TPR, drawings, pictures, synonyms, or even sentences as example to get your message across. Next, we do have, super important as well, pace. Voice projection and pace. For pace and voice projection, we aim our trainees to understand the message. We need a high self esteem, motivation, and low anxiety for language acquisition. You must articulate and exaggerate alongside mimics so that trainees can relate what you're saying with what you're showing. As well, with your pace and voice projection, they cannot be flat. You need to have those ups and downs that will bring your trainees' attention back to you. When providing feedback, remember to have a very good and confident tone of voice, friendly but firm, especially when using the sandwich technique to correct mistakes. Now we're moving on to participation. Participation for adults is super important. All of them love to participate. So, as I mentioned before, the Wall of Fame is a tracker that you can use so you and your trainees can visualize participation. All your trainees must participate 2 to 3 times during the whole class, you with questions and examples. Rating or helping with the booster is not actual production. So make sure that when your trainees participate, it's super important that they provide examples with questions or sentences. All these things are super important, but let's remember that we also need to have fun. So, English for adults is different because we are super dynamic. You must enjoy your classes and have fun. For dynamism, you have to do at least 4 different boosters to keep the energy throughout the class. Class must be fun, but also we need to get results. So, pushing is also super, super, super important. Why? Because pushing it's what actually will help us to get the results that we're aiming for. You must push since day one. Trainees appreciate you care enough to correct their pronunciation and grammar mistakes. To push adults, you must know your trainees and the reason why they're studying English. That way, you can push and motivate trainees based on a strong why. You must provide clarity to adults. What are the mistakes? What they're doing correctly? And also, if you can, provide written feedback. It's super important for visual learners. Besides that, provide clarity on what you are evaluating. Always push for problem questions and inspire learning questions, even though they are level 0, because this will help with their critical thinking. Besides pushing, we have timing and Prezi. For Prezi and timing, we do have two type of classes, 3 or 2 days classes. So timing and following pretty flow is super important because trainees do follow up on Pathwright the pretty material so they know what they will be learning during the class. So just keep in mind that you do have a 5-minute break for the 3-day classes and 2 breaks for the 2-day classes. Now, leadership and class control. Super important for class control and leadership to show yourself as a leader always. Besides your tone of voice and confidence, you must also correct behaviors and explain why it's important for them. For example, to stand up or to participate or to repeat or do retakes or have their cameras on. As a great leaders always give a reason why they do what they do. Again, so let's keep learning with the next video about the bargain spell. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you keep on learning.